Hello friends, welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 things that you need to know before you move to the jungle. I have been living in Costa Rica for the last month and a half, and I was living in Banco in the middle of the jungle for the last month, and now I've moved to Dominical, which is about a couple-hour drive from Banco, but is way more built up than just living in the jungle where there's pretty much nothing. There's like one tienda about a 20-minute walk from where I was living, and there's like not much there. It was like pretty remote. So beautiful. But I wanted to share tips with you before you do choose to live in the jungle that you may want to consider, you may want to know, and that may help you when planning for your next trip. So my experience living in the jungle was so amazing. I absolutely loved it, but there were some things that I wished I knew before I went, and some things that I found out a few days before I was leaving for my trip that I was so happy I knew before going. So number 1 is it is never quiet. So when you are living in the jungle is extremely alive, and this is something that I know everyone takes into consideration and like understands, but you don't fully understand it until you're living in it and you realize that it is just so loud all the time. Like there are moments when it's a bit less loud, you know, the crickets and the cicadas and all of the wildlife kind of tones it down and like, you know, is more relaxed, but especially in sunrise and sunset, everything is just singing. It's like they're all like praising the sun, praising the day, so happy that the daylight is coming through or the sun is setting. So it is extremely loud. Like if you are a light sleeper, you may want to consider bringing earplugs for when you are sleeping, because it's beautiful, it's extraordinary, it's amazing to experience. But if you're going to be living in the jungle for a long time and you really want to be able to get a good sleep at night, you definitely want to bring earplugs, and this will just help you to get a better sleep. You know, there's so much going on in the jungle. Like there's frogs there's lizards, there's monkeys. Like where I was living, there was frogs that would literally create this symphony together all night, and it sounded like something squeaking. Like it was like and it would just like happen like all night and wouldn't end. So that's one example. And like it's funny at the beginning and it sounds really cool, but then after like 3 hours you're kind of like, okay, I want to sleep right now. And also every single morning there would be howling monkeys where I was, and howling monkeys, they kind of sound like but like really loud. I'm not doing this justice, but if you look up howling monkeys, you will hear what I mean, and they do not stop. They go all day. They're very loud. This is how they communicate, and it's really cool to hear. It's really beautiful, but if you're trying to sleep and it's 3 a.m., it's not the most fun thing. So I definitely recommend you to bring earplugs, and this will really make your stay in the jungle more happy, and you'll get a beautiful, restful sleep. My second tip when living in the jungle is bring a headlight or a flashlight and bring extra batteries. And this is super important because even if you are living somewhere that is like has electricity and all of those things, you definitely want to make sure that you still have like a flashlight. Like the weather is very unpredictable in the jungle. You know, the electricity can go out at any time. It's very common for that to happen. So you definitely want to have some kind of light, especially at nighttime. And it's really important to not rely on your phone. Especially you don't want to have your phone all the time when you're living in the jungle because it is so wet here, especially if you don't have a waterproof phone. You don't want to be relying on the battery of your phone, especially if the electricity goes out and then you can't plug your phone in. So always have a flashlight, always have a headlamp. And I really recommend headlamps, especially if you're going to be going somewhere that doesn't have electricity or only has it for a few hours a day. So at nighttime, If you're gonna go to the washroom or you are doing anything, you want to be able to see where you're walking, especially because you are living in the jungle and there are critters, you know, there's snakes, there are spiders, and it doesn't mean that you need to be fearful of these things, but you do want to be cautious. There are scorpions that walk around, and you want to be cautious of where you are stepping. These things aren't trying to hurt you, but you know, if you're gonna hurt them, then they might hurt you. So you just want to make sure that you are conscious of where you are walking. So I really recommend to have some light, some form of light that you can bring with you, and you can also recharge from batteries. So the third thing you need to know when living in the jungle, which is so important, like this is so important for you to know, especially if you're like a digital nomad or someone that works online or has a lot of technology, like a really good quality expensive camera or any kind of equipment, is that the jungle eats technology and it gets extremely moldy in the jungle very easily. So if you have a very expensive camera, if you have a computer, if you have anything that needs electricity, or if you have anything that is technology with you, you definitely want to be conscious of that, because it gets really wet and it's very like damp in the jungle, so it's really easy for mold to grow and it happens very quickly. So some things that I would recommend for your technology is dry bags. So dry bags are a vital thing. They're very important for you to bring when you live in the jungle and you want to really protect your technology and also just like the longevity of your technology. So dry bags are really great to keep moisture out, and I can link some dry bags down below that I recommend, that I've used and have worked really well. And I also recommend like moisture packets that you can get at any kind of like wilderness store. They're kind of just like those little moisture packets. I'll kind of make a video, you're probably looking at it right now, of the moisture packets. You find them in candies and in bags to keep moisture out. And these things are amazing to essentially just like soak up the moisture and keep your electronics dry so they don't break, you know, they don't get too wet. You know, some things that we were using is like some of the girls, you know, some of their phones weren't working because they got a bit wet or they fell in the ocean. So we actually put them in the dehydrator at where I was living, like in the kitchen, and that really helped, like on the lowest heat setting. And then also in a bag of rice, which also a lot of people know really helps to keep the moisture out of electronics. If you know, your phone isn't working one day, or you feel like, you know, your computer is getting pretty damp, just put it in a bag of rice. But definitely the number one thing that I would recommend for that is dry bags. They are so amazing. And also moisture packets. Just keep your electronics out of the sun in a cool, dry place. If you do have air conditioning, you know, that's amazing, but if you don't, like a lot of places don't in the jungle, just keep it in a cool, dry place, like under your bed or somewhere out of the sun, out of the heat, and just try your best. You know, obviously you still want to use your camera, you still want to go out and take photos and use your phone. So yeah, just be mindful of that. And also, if you are living in the jungle, another tip is like, it always will randomly rain. So if you're going on a hike with your phone and it's not waterproof, or your camera, always put your stuff in a dry bag, because it will randomly rain and that's not good. So you definitely want to have a dry bag, because if you have a dry bag, then your electronics will stay dry. It really just, you know, gives you a better chance for you to keep your electronics safe. So essentially, it's really easy for things to get moldy in the jungle. So if you have anything like in a plastic bag where moisture can kind of seep in, you know, if you have like really soft fabrics and stuff like this, it can get moldy very easily if it's like wet and kind of just like sitting in a corner. or if you have like really nice clothing that's like a beautiful material that's really soft, like cotton, it's fine, but you just don't want to get it wet and like leave it in a corner. Like it will definitely get moldy. Like if you have really good quality clothes, I wouldn't really recommend to bring them to the jungle, or things that you like really care about when it comes to your clothing. You just want to make sure those things aren't going to get ruined, so just be conscious of them. You know, you can put some dry packs in your clothes as well, and that can really help to keep the moisture out. And you know, the sun always dries everything up, so if you do have wet clothes, make sure to just leave them in the sun so mold doesn't get inside of them and start to grow. So the fourth thing you need to know when living in the jungle is there are bugs. Surprise! There are bugs. Yes, there are. And that is their home. The jungle is their home. You are in the bugs' home. So if you're going to be going to the jungle, you need to understand that you are in all of these animals' homes and all these bugs' homes, and this is where they live. And you know, you can't be angry or upset or so fearful of, you know, a ginormous ant coming in your room, or a spider or a scorpion, because it's going to happen. You know, you're going to see these things, you're going to interact with them, and they're beautiful souls as we are. You know, they just live a different experience. And the thing about the bugs in the jungle is they're not there to hurt you, they're just there to live their experience. They're not there to go after you and to sting you or whatever it is. But you do want to be conscious of them, and especially the ones that are poisonous. So like I was saying about the headlamp, it is good to just like be conscious, watch where you're stepping, especially at nighttime. You know, there are snakes in the jungle and some of them are poisonous, so they're not there to attack you. Snakes usually don't attack humans, but if you did step on one, you could get bitten by one. So just be conscious of where you are walking and things like that. And also bring really good bug spray. I am all for natural products, like 100%. Bug sprays, natural bug sprays are amazing, but sometimes when you are living in the jungle, you do need something a little bit more potent and strong. So I would recommend to bring both, just in case you notice that the natural one isn't working as good as the not natural one. And I know that sucks to say, it's just like from my experience, I noticed that sometimes the mosquitoes would get really bad and I would need one that was a little bit more strong, but I really tried my best to only use the natural one so I wasn't hurting the environment and also wasn't, you know, putting toxins on my skin, because it's obviously not good for us to spray those toxic chemicals on our skin. So really try your best to use the natural one, but if you notice that like, oh, there's a lot of bugs, you can, you know, use the one that's not natural and it probably should be fine. Also, wherever you're living, make sure to seal up your food. If you have any food, I mean like any food, put it in the fridge if you have a fridge, but if it's like open in the fridge, bugs can still get in the fridge, so make sure that it is covered, it is in a sealed container. And also if you have any food like chips or any kind of like dry goods, you want to make sure it's in like a zipped up bag. Don't leave chips out, don't leave anything out. Like if you have one crumb on the ground, you're gonna wake up and there's gonna be a whole colony of ants around that crumb. Like you are in the jungle. Like there is so many different critters that are searching for food and living their lives. So don't be mad if you leave food around and you attract maybe some unwanted guests. Another thing, if you do find a critter in your home, do not kill it, okay? It deserves to live as much as you deserve to live. And even though it may be scary to you, or it might even be poisonous, you can get someone that is in your community to help you remove it, or you can, you know, find a friend if you're with a friend to help you remove it, but don't kill this animal, okay? This being needs to live. Like, it's not good karma to kill anything. And you know, I used to be really scared of a lot of different kinds of critters, especially spiders, you know, and for a long time cockroaches. Like I really didn't have a good relationship with cockroaches, but I mean, a lot of us don't, we all think they're gross, but honestly, they're beautiful, they're beings, and they deserve to live just as much as you. And when you realize that, like, it just makes you a more conscious person to not kill these things. And also, it's just not nice. Like, why do you want to kill it? Just take it out of your home, you know? And what I do is I just take a cup, put it over, I just take a piece of paper, slip it under. It's fine. It's not going to hurt you. It's in there. You can just take it out of your house, or if it's poisonous, take it way farther than your house and just drop it there, and there you go. Now it's alive, it's not bothering you, everything's fine. So I really recommend you to not kill anything. It's not good karma, and the jungle is full of karma, so just make sure that you respect it just as much as it respects you. And the final thing you should know before living in the jungle, the fifth thing, is respect nature. You need to respect nature. You are living in the most beautiful, fruitful, alive environment in the world. One of the most alive environments in the world, the jungle. Like, you need to respect the nature, okay? The jungle has this beautiful energy, and it's very regenerative. Like, it regenerates constantly, and it really connects to the cycles of life. Like, all nature, it really shows you that everything is gonna die. Like, everything is gonna decay, and then it's gonna come back to life. And there's so many different elements, and there's so many different creatures within the jungle that really teach you that, to not be fearful and to surrender to the cycles of life. And it's such a beautiful place, but it's very overstimulating, and it can be very intense at times. So we can have a tendency to be very triggered in a place like the jungle. And, you know, some people disrespect the jungle and they pollute, or, you know, they consume more than they need to. You just want to be very intentional when you're in this environment. You want to be very patient. You want to walk through the jungle and connect to everything and sync up to the vibration of nature, and be respectful in every interaction that you have with the nature. You know, be respectful with the ants, with the spiders, with the trees, with the herbs around you. Be respectful with everything, and the jungle will give that energy back to you and will respect you. So it's really important for you to not like rush and run through and try to like do a lot of things, because the jungle will slow you down, because it's a very slow conscious pace that the jungle has. So essentially, ways that you can respect the jungle is to not pollute. Obviously, we should all know that, but some people still do. Like, we should be very like conscious by not taking more than we need. And, you know, if you have a garden, like really asking Mother Earth for permission to take some of the herbs that she has on the ground, or ask the plant for permission if you can snip some of its leaves. And just be respectful towards all of the animals. Like I was saying, like, never like throw a rock at an animal or do anything like that. I know usually people don't do that, but some people do, and that's really not okay. And really just take a slow pace and really practice like forest bathing, jungle bathing, where you're walking at a slower pace, you're connecting to everything. And I think the best way to respect nature is to appreciate it. So everything that you do receive, all the gifts that you do receive within the jungle, appreciate them. Thank Mother Nature for her beauty, for her grace, for her strength, for her perseverance, and just give back to her by, you know, watering the plants, or by saying a prayer to her, or by singing, or just by connecting to her and appreciating the beauty that she has everywhere, by smelling a flower, all of the different things. So when you're in the jungle, make sure to respect the nature, and the nature will respect you. Living a more conscious lifestyle and living more sustainably is a beautiful way to give back to Mother Nature and to respect the environment that you're in. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you learned some things about living in the jungle and some things that you need to know before you do move to the jungle. I got a lot of questions online about this subject because a lot of people do want to travel to Costa Rica, to Bali, to Thailand, to all these places that are in the jungle. So there are some things you should know before you move here, and I'm excited for you too. And please comment down below any other tips that you have, any insight that you have, maybe a story that you have about living in the jungle. I would love to hear it. I would love to know. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel to see more content like this. And if you have any ideas of topics that you would like me to cover or content you would like me to create, please comment it down below. I would love to know. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.